Welcome, everybody, coming out of Studio 44, the Paul Rodriguez inaugural show getting off the ground. Want to welcome in producer James to my left, running the boards. I appreciate you coming in, James. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking sports, football, high school sports. Today's show pretty much going to be breaking down 15-minute segments, take about a 4-minute break, come back every single time. But I wanted to lead off with the biggest story of the weekend. News dropping at 11:30 on a Saturday night. Matt Stafford dealt to the Los Angeles Rams, and who I'm thinking a lot right now are just going to be the favorite out of the NFC West, mainly due to the fact that Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, that huge defense, they're going to obviously have to rework a lot of deals on the defensive side with Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald, but I really thought that Matt Stafford coming in, I kind of had a shout out to Papa Romeo. We kind of talked about that this weekend, and I was telling him how, maybe Matt Stafford could come down to Dallas if that would be a fit. Dak Prescott, a little bit of damaged goods, and I don't care if y'all don't like that, but that's what it is. I like Matt Stafford a lot. I think that he wasn't dealt a good hand in Detroit, mainly due to the fact that he didn't have any help from his ownership or his GM. He had Calvin Johnson, Megatron for a little while, but no running game and surely no defense with Matt Patricia the last 4 years. So for him to get dealt, they had Dan go in there, the new head coach, the dude, who was, really going to be changing things, I think, from the ground up. He's been known as a leader. But I think now with McVay in Los Angeles as the head coach, Matt Stafford in at quarterback, you're going to see, I think, a lot of new things going on in L.A. due to the fact that the kid genius in McVay is going to be an instrument of mastermind because the dude grew up in the business. And so I'm really excited for Matt Stafford, a Texas kid out of Highland Park, to see him to go to Georgia and then to Detroit, now into L.A. I think is going to be really fun. But I think a precedent has been set now. Deshaun Watson is in the news. And for Deshaun, I think the deal that he's going to be given is astronomical. It's going to be something similar to the Herschel Walker deal in the late 80s when Jimmy Johnson came into Dallas. And so the deal for Stafford was 2 1s and some change with the quarterback. I don't know, man. I like Deshaun Watson. He may get 3 1s. But if they're smart in Houston, which right now they're not, spiritual advisors, former chaplains running the day-to-day operations for the Houston Texans and being the liaison for Cal McNair. If Robert McNair was alive, I don't think he'd be doing things, making decisions through a chaplain. He had a really good guy in there in Robert Smith before they parted ways when Billy O'Brien was there. But I really want to see how things get picked up with Houston. If a proper GM went in, he's going to tell this kid, Deshaun, look, man, we need to do things to help you get better, and that's going to be the GM's first job. If he can't do that, then I don't know why they made the hire. And it just maybe due to the fact that somebody needs to get right with, their spiritual advisor. If that's the way you're going to run a business, good luck. That's all I have to say. I just think it's a bunch of nonsense for you to make football operation decisions through a former chaplain who has no real experience making personnel decisions. So, they got a new coach in there, Coach Culley from the Ravens. Is he going to be okay? No, I don't think so. I mean, I think this job is going to get set up for Cade McNown, the former quarterback who originally got drafted by Cleveland. And as far as the deal with Deshaun, you have to bring in really quality athletes who are going to accentuate his abilities. And so I'm not really sure if that's going to get done in Houston. I'd like to see him go to the Jets. Will that happen? Maybe, but I think the team that has all of the leverage right now, if there were a deal to be done, is definitely going to be Miami. They just have so much draft capital just stepped away. It's going to be real interesting if Coach Flo and the ownership group can get a deal done for Deshaun. Maybe in the next few weeks. The league year is going to start on the 17th of March. Officially, the deals don't go through until then. So I'm looking forward to how this deal gets going moving forward. With that being said, We have a huge Super Bowl week coming up. I'm super excited about that. I know it's going to be a huge game down in Tampa Bay. I don't know if y'all heard, James, I don't know if you heard about this, man, but Gronk back to his adolescent ways, I guess you could say. Apparently he was like not in shape coming into the offseason, but he apparently was like changing clothes, running sprints daily so he could kind of go and, I don't know, get his workout in and then go have fun. I mean, I don't know what you're going to be doing during a pandemic with the vid running around, but apparently he was out there doing his old tricks, like, you know, how he duped the Detroit Lions whenever they tried to trade for him. And he was like, no, I'm retired, which that didn't turn out to be true. And they won a Super Bowl in 2017. And so now he's up to his old tricks. Gronk didn't look good early on in the year, but man, now when he's back in true form and now in the Super Bowl, him and Tom Brady being petty on the IG, low key, I think there's a little bit of shots at Bill Belichick out of New England. So for them to be kind of doing, you know, fun stuff outside of New England, I'm sure it's going to rub a lot of people the wrong way. But who gives a shit? I mean, it doesn't matter if they're winning or if another team's winning. If you got the dub, you can act how you want. And I think that's how people are really going to feel about things moving forward. Excuse me as I take a sip there real quick. Man, more NFL news. I think the biggest NFL news that I really was excited about coming forward is the NFL draft. I mean, that's going to be a fun time over there in April. I got to see the Senior Bowl this past weekend, the Reese's Senior Bowl, where the coach Gatorade wasn't used. It was Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. So all you Reese's, #NoAd, all you Reese's Peanut Butter Cup lovers out there, that was surely sight when every commercial was like a Reese's commercial. Was kind of just weird at times, but was also kind of fun if you do like Reese's. But to see Kellen Mond, Texas A&M quarterback, go to the Senior Bowl, handle himself in above average way, I think he didn't jump off the page and he didn't jump off the screen, so to speak. And so seeing him win MVP, I think was a little bit of a lull in the game. Not a lot of big players. I really wanted to see Mac Jones play, the quarterback at Alabama, the national champion, but that didn't end up happening. I'm sure the pro days coming up in the next few months are going to be pivotal for a lot of these young guys to make their bank. So we'll see how things wrap up for them moving forward. But the young man out of Texas here in the 40 acres did play. He didn't play as well as Kellen Mond, but he made a couple of throws that were okay. A lot of development going on with him. It'll be interesting to see where he gets drafted. I mean, people are having him graded out like a 5th round draft pick. I think that's a little low, maybe 4th round. So if he can kind of boost himself up at the pro day at Texas, utilize those receivers that he has that he can be coming out with. But I think that's going to be fun. But Quinn Miners, I don't know if anybody's heard about this Quinn Miners guy out of he's Canadian, but he was playing at a D3 school up north and just handling perennial All-Americans at this Senior Bowl. And the dude's 6'3", like 305, but he's like a man-child. You know, he's got the mullet. He's a big old boy from Canada. Apparently his family has a fishery that they were just basically taking weird objects, like awkward objects, and just picking them up and carrying them in training during the football season because they didn't have one due to the COVID. So it was real cool to kind of see an unknown D3 type of guy. For someone like me who follows recruiting from the 4 or 5 star guys all the way to the D3 commits, and we'll go over some of those here probably in the next segment. But seeing Quinn Miners, and it's not Miners like you think it is. It's I believe it's Miners, which was cool to see something just spelt differently, but sounded familiar at the same time. So big shout out to him. I'm sure he's going to make himself a lot of money kind of going to the Senior Bowl and participating, even though they really didn't get a season this past year with the COVID out. And I'm super excited about that. I want to see if things are going to be accessible for the draft. I know a lot of guys are probably going to be having everything done virtually, and that's going to put a little bit of a damper, kind of what we had last year. But for these young people, for them to sacrifice and kind of go through everything, especially through a pandemic, I think it's just totally nuts. But they made it through it. I mean, we made it through football season. Lord willing, we get through this week and we get to the Super Bowl. And once it gets kicked off, I think things will kind of settle down for a lot of people, and we'll get things a little bit more, comfy. Because I think a lot of times that's where we kind of get losses. When we're not feeling right or we're not feeling comfortable, things get a little away from us. And so it was fun to kind of see, the Senior Bowl wrap up, the playoff, the AFC and NFC championships wrap up. I know my guy to my left here, James, is really not too hot on Aaron Rodgers and the Packers getting the L, but it is what it is. And it was fun to see Aaron kind of grow on certain shows and see the man behind the helmet, so to speak. And it was fun times for them. So maybe Aaron stays, maybe Aaron goes. I think he's going to stay. I don't think anybody's about that nonsense. So hopefully the management up there and LaFleur, is that how you say it, James? Is it LaFleur?
Yep.
It's LaFleur to me. I mean, I'm from Texas, so it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense how you pronounce it as long as you, I think, phonetically say it correctly. But we're going to go ahead and take a quick break right now. About 4 minutes. I think we'll probably be back on the hour about 7:25. Let everybody go get themselves a refreshment, a bathroom break. If you smoke, a smoke break. But yeah, we'll be back on the flip side. Check us out in about 4 minutes, y'all. Thanks for tuning in if y'all are here. y'all are back. Thanks for coming back, y'all. Nah, just joking here. We're gonna get back into the second block here. A little bit more in my wheelhouse. Austin, Texas area, Texas recruiting down to the RGV. Shout out Recon Athlete. If you want to find anybody who's getting an offer from, Super Syntex all the way down to Victoria, through Floresville, all the way down to the Valley, San Antonio, through Laredo and back up, go over to Recon Athlete. Give us a follow. Shout out to Chris and the kid doing their thing Saturday mornings. And that's kind of where we house a lot of the Recon Athlete content, mainly due to the fact that we have a good following by the young people out there and their family and friends. So I just wanted to show a little love. We're going to do a little recap real quick of the offers that kind of came in towards the tail end of last week into today. Those offers have not been posted yet. They're going to be posted tonight. But all the offers that were coming in from last Thursday on previous, you can go find them at reconathlete.com on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. Give us a like if you enjoy the content, or if you have a family member, shoot us a direct message if there's somebody who has an offer and you don't see it on our page. We'd love to give them the shout out. And mainly we want to do this for the young people to expose them to more potential recruiters, to potential coaches, because the way our crazy world works now with social media, we have a net that we can kind of spread all this information out and let the right people find it, so that we can give more opportunities for the young people in our community to go to the next level, play at the next level, get an education at the next level. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to kind of skip around to a few schools, but mainly we're just going to be highlighting the student athletes. So let's just get things kicked off with Brandon Bradford, the receiver out of Georgetown High School, EFND, committing today to Missouri Valley University. So he's actually received multiple offers from D2 and D3 schools. So for Brandon to get a offer like Missouri Valley and commit, he's gone through the recruiting process, and a big ups for him, because he's been one who's been really coveted by a lot of these D2 schools to get him onto their campus and committing. Now we have the Westlake Chaparrals state champions in 6A. This is an underclassman, Connor Roberts, class of 22. He's a coveted offensive lineman for the Chaparrals. Big human being, 6'5", 310, a mauler. I've watched this guy's tape, and I've rated him as a 4-star recruit. Currently, some people have him as a 3-star. You watch his feet, you watch his aggressiveness. Throwback, dude, just nasty. If he gets his mitts in you, like you're going to the ground, he's going to lay there until the whistle blows to set up for the next play. He just got picked up another offer from Tulane. He has a few more offers that are already posted to Recon Athletes Instagram. So if you want to see more about that young man, go show Connor Roberts some love and look at the offers that he's previously received from other D1 universities, coveted athlete. And we'll continue in Westlake with the quarterback, the superhuman Cade Klubnik, who is another underclassman, class of 22 as well. Cade is a 2-time state champion. He was on the 2019 squad, and then he started and led the 2020 club over Quinn Ewers in the South Lake Dragons just a few weeks ago in Dallas. So Cade Klubnik is another 4-star rated kid by Recon Athlete. He's received multiple D1 offers from the SEC schools in Alabama to the Pac-12 schools to the University of Texas schools, and as well as Oklahoma. The young man is a coveted athlete, and if Sarkisian and his team are wise, they'll do everything in their power to secure the skills of Cade Klubnik. But today, Cade was offered by Penn State University. You can just kind of tell with the type of names we've been dropping for Cade. He is a very well sought-after recruit here in the Austin area. Let's just kind of keep things moving. I'm looking for another individual, Will Fisher. Will Fisher, the kicker and / punter out of Rouse High School out in the Leander area, has been offered by Crown College, another small Division II school. And actually, Will has been offered by 2 more schools, I believe McPherson University out of Oklahoma, as well as a few others. Another big big arm quarterback Tanner Ballou out of Eastview High School has picked up an offer from Wayland University. Fun to see him do that. I'm really excited for another young man, Bryant Lewis out of Hayes, the super speedy receiver who's a senior this year. Currently has a couple of offers from D2 schools. Most recently visited University of Texas Permian Basin, where he got to kind of go out, see the facilities. I had a chance to speak with his dad. Him and I are classmates of alumni here in Lockhart High School, fighting Lockhart Lions. We were able to kind of just give him a little bit of insight of what to expect, and said they had a great visit. So want to give a big shout out for Bryant Lewis picking up that offer from University of Texas Permian Basin. And again, UT Permian Basin is a school that's building a pipeline into the Austin area for the talents in the 512. A few more schools that are doing that right now are Texas A&M, Kingsville. They've locked up really great talent on the secondary level in Austin. They picked up really good athletes from LBJ and Danny Davis and Vontae Ortiz, as well as Jalen Mosley out of McNeil High School, and a couple of other, Bowie, speedy receiver, Jason Gaines, who I think is going to probably be one of the fastest guys on their team as they move forward. So pipelines are being built into the Austin area that are going to be pivotal for the recruiting. And, I wanted to just speak on Kingsville for a little bit. 1 second. Kingsville came in last year and picked up a lot of recruits in the Austin area. Gilbert Partita out of Lehman High School, Deuce Hester out of Hendrickson, and another recruit out of the Del Valle, Chris Jones, I believe, is the young man who went down last year, who were a class of the 2020 class, and last year who came up. And so Coach Salinas down there in Kingsville is doing a tremendous job. I think he recognizes the talent with all the exposure that the Austin kids get and the surrounding areas. We can't forget about Georgetown, Cedar Park, Lockhart, San Marcos area, Dripping Springs, another hotbed for talent. So for those individuals, there's so much exposure, and that's kind of really what our goal is at Recon Athlete, is to kind of get them to the next level and get them as much exposure as we can. But again, if you really want to see all of the athletes who are going, right now we're focusing on football, and so you can kind of see where this recruiting area is going. The reason why I focus a lot on recruiting too is this week is National Signing Day here on Wednesday the 3rd. We're probably going to have a big show about that. A lot of information. We might even have a scroll of who's going to be signing their national letter of intent. And so just so y'all can kind of get a visual when we're taking our breaks on who these young people are, where they're going, and where they're going to be succeeding in life as they move forward. So with that being said, go out to reconathlete.com, follow them. If you're liking what you're seeing right now on the Paul Rodriguez Show, give us a like, subscribe down below, hit the notification if you like it, and share this with your friends. If you know somebody who may be interested in listening to football from us here at Studio 44, we'll be happy to kind of give them a little bit more entertainment as we move forward. If they like the information on the recruiting, we'll definitely be able to help them out with that as well. So thanks everybody for coming back. We're going to probably take a break here in the next moment and reset so we can kind of bring y'all the second half of the show, which should be a little bit more entertaining. We're going to, let our hair down, so to speak, and get things ramped up a little bit. Maybe you'll laugh a time or two. Welcome back to the Paul Rodriguez Show, everybody. I hope you took your bathroom breaks. I hope you got your little snack, a little popcorn. T.O., man. I can't. I just said that popcorn line, I thought directly back when he was talking about popcorn and Tony Romo, and then the next thing that pops in my brain is when he talks about Tony Romo and he's crying underneath the sunglasses, and I was like, "You bitch!" It's like, what are you doing? What are you really thinking about? Where you have to cry? I mean, did Jerry put you up to that? I mean, which I wouldn't be surprised if Jerry did say, "Tia, why don't you go out there and why don't you just let the people have a little bit of emotion from you? You always seem so tense." And that's my Jerry Jones. What do you think about that, James?
It's decent.
Producer James over here thinks it's decent. I think it's garbage.
Hey, did you see when T.O. was throwing Donovan McNabb under the bus?
On McAfee show?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that was not only was that hilarious, but it was kind of like, why didn't T.O. say this just absolute gems when he was still in the league? I mean, it was even like he even really threw all of his quarterbacks under the bus except for Steve Young, which Steve Young had to retire, I think, due to injuries when he was like just getting into the league. And Jeff Garcia, garbage. That's just straight up. That's all he said. Jeff Garcia, garbage. Donovan McNabb, crybaby. Who else did he have? Tony Romo. I love Tony Romo because Jerry Jones told me to say that. He had Carson Palmer in Cincinnati. So he had a couple of decent quarterbacks along the way, but Jeff Garcia and Donovan McNabb just had no chance when T.O. was given a platform to just say whatever he wanted. And it was like, yeah, Jeff Garcia, garbage. Donovan McNabb, crybaby. It was pretty funny to kind of just see that emotion from T.O., but also him just being kind of genuine with it. It was really fun. We didn't intend to kind of get off on that little tangent. It just kind of popped in my brain whenever I talked about the popcorn. But we wanted to get into, the matchup on the big game 55. I don't want to get taken down for saying Super Bowl 55. I mean, am I going to get taken down for that? I mean, some people can. You like if you put that Super Bowl with another item, copyright, you're going to get sued by the NFL. You're going to get sued by a nonprofit organization. That's the biggest pet peeve I have about the NFL is like these scammers. That's what the NFL is scamming people as a nonprofit due to when they set it up when, Hallis was out there and the Mara family were out there. And I get it. They weren't making money back then. But now I might take a little time to change some things, but I know it's not going to be in their tax benefit. But we want to get back to Tampa Bay and Tampa Bay. Who came up with Tampa Bay Gronk? Who the hell? I mean, I would love to know, like, was that somebody at the big network, with the E's and the P's and the N's and the S's? I mean, I don't know. I ain't trying to give none of y'all love unless y'all cutting checks. You cutting checks, we can talk. But I don't know. Maybe it was the one SF. Am I just coming up with these people's names like off the top? One SF. Yep. The E's, the P's, and the N's, and then the ones, the S and the F's. It's fun. Tampa Bay. A lot of people like Tampa. If you're betting, I think right now the majority of the money is on the Buccaneers plus the 3, just because I think they really believe that this is going to be a tight game. I believe that Todd Bowles' defense is going to get to or pressure Mahomes enough to kind of get the ball out of his hand as fast as possible, because their running game is suspect right now. Like, Lev Bell is hurt. Edwards-Helaire is coming off that big injury mid-year. Now, granted, he ran well in the in the AFC Championship game, but you don't really know how successful they're gonna be with both of Kansas City's starting offensive tackles out, left and right. So it's kind of the way JPP, the way Shaq Barrett were getting after Aaron Rodgers. It kind of makes you think like, do we need to get the ball out quick? Do we need to have special routes? Do we need to maybe throw more screens. I mean, I don't. I think you just really need to do two things. I think you need to throw to Kelsey underneath and tell Cheetah just run as fast as you can, and I'll throw the ball, and you just run and go get it. I think that's really what a lot of people are going to be picking off on this. But James, you saw that game last week against your Packers. Do you think that the defense for the Buccaneers is going to be able to put any kind of pressure that is going to impact Mahomes in a negative way?
Yeah, I mean, like you said,
and no, you don't get to see James right now. You just don't. You get to see my beautiful face.
JPP, I didn't even know he was still in the league. I thought that firework.
Yeah, dude, it's JPP and his 7 fingers.
Yeah, him and the other guy on the other end. What's his name?
Shaq Barrett.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
They were all over Rodgers. I think Bakhtiari, getting away from the question that you had asked, I think Bakhtiari's absence was definitely felt in that game.
I think you're flirting with it. You're flirting with the answer.
Yeah.
Just tickle it a little bit. Come on.
But they brought pressure all game. Rodgers got sacked the most that he ever had all season. So they're definitely gonna bring it, But Mahomes he's more mobile than Rodgers. He can run, and he's also dangerous, on the fly when he's got to scramble out. But I think they're definitely gonna be able to get in there and cause some, fluster them. So it's all about how they adjust.
And the big thing for me is like you kind of look at the defenses and their front four and like the strength of their defense on both sides for KC and for the Bucs. And but you have to look at the quarterback. Like I kind of look at the defensive front and then I look at the quarterback and I'm like, one's a statue and one can run, but the one that can run has a bum left toe. So you ask yourself, do they cancel out? I mean, one's 25 or 6 and one's 43. And I'm like, I think I'm going to take my chances with the 23-year-old MVP, Super Bowl MVP to kind of do what he needs to do to get out. Because, if you can rest that foot, you put in a little pad, you put in a little Toradol. I mean.
What's wrong with his toe?
I'm not saying that's what's happened, but probably. He has a turf toe. Mahomes has a turf toe.
What exactly is turf toe?
The way I understand, supposedly, the way I understand turf toe is like you jam your toenail into the skin of your foot, but I could be wrong. And I'm just probably lying to everybody. So there's probably a podiatrist out there who is listening to me speak of nonsense and like, dude, you're totally wrong. But maybe I'm right. I mean, all I know is that the turf toe didn't seem to bother Mahomes in the AFC Championship game. And they were I think Mahomes was so comfortable. Even he was trying to like move the pocket because you kind of saw that a lot. Like he was trying to move the pocket to get Tyreek Hill on those patterns on the sideline. So moving forward, I still like Kansas City, but you got to take into consideration. Like we looked at Tampa. If we go back and we look at Kansas City's front, and we were talking about Chris Jones and we're talking about Clark, who came over from Seattle, and they're both just like. If anybody knows in the MMA world, like John Bones Jones, like his brother is Chris Jones. And he's like John Bones Jones, 6'4", like, what does he fight at, 185?
He fights
205?
At 205, but
okay,
he just moved up to 225.
Okay, so he's fighting at 205 to 225. His brother's 300 pounds and 6'5". And it's like, they're madmen. And I think that's something I heard today was that a lot of people, I was listening to Michael Lombardi, and he was saying that in Atlantic City at the sports book out there, the bets, like the pro gamblers, the people who like do this for a living, they're putting money on Clark or JPP to be the MVP of the game due to sacks. And it's like they think that this is going to be a defensive-minded game, and I've been looking at the over-under for this game at 56.5 the whole time. And I'm like, man, I really like the over. But now I'm hearing the professional gamblers are putting money on defensive players to be the MVP. Now, I'm not saying that's indicative of a low-scoring game, but what I am saying is that is it going to be like Larry Brown in the mid 90s. Okay, all you Dallas fans just, y'all, I saw y'all perk up a little bit. Saw Larry Brown from the 90s when they beat Pittsburgh in that Super Bowl in the desert. All y'all perked up. I'm sorry. I gave you a little bit of hope. Jerry Jones giving you hope. That was more Bill Clinton. But I don't think a defender is going to be as big an impact player. I mean, we can talk about Malcolm Butler a few years ago with the Patriots. I don't know if it's going to be a defender. I really think that if you have Mahomes balls out, Mahomes he's the betting favorite. I think he's like minus 105 for Super Bowl MVP right now. But do we need to get to a break? Yeah, let's go. Well, let me wrap up my final thought on this real quick, and then we'll come back we'll take a break in about 2 minutes. The defense for the Bucs, I think, is not going to have as big as impact as the defense for the Kansas City Chiefs due to the fact that the safeties on the back end were questionable coming into this game, who got knocked out of the game 2 weeks ago against the Green Bay Packers. And Tyrann Mathieu may be the guy who's going to put them over the edge on the back end to take the interceptions away from Tom Brady, who had 3 against Aaron Rodgers. And so that's something we'll probably talk about in the last segment about ball control. We'll talk probably a little bit of prop bets and maybe talk a little bit more about how this game may end, because the way it's looking right now is that whoever's going to have the ball last is probably going to be the winner. But maybe that's what people think. I don't think it's going to be like that. James, anything before we take a break?
No.
Let's go. Welcome back, guys. This is going to be the home stretch right here. James and I, producer James, I'm going to have to remember to call him producer James. We're kind of talking a little bit about that Packers and Buccaneers game. And I was telling James, I was like, you're from here, you know, you're from Texas. And it popped in my brain. I'm like, James, tell the people, like, because I know a couple, you know, shout out to Zach Lucero. He's a Packers fan. And, you know, I remember when I was in school, when Brett Favre won their championship, I was in middle school. Elementary. I was young. It was in elementary, I think is what it was. And there was a kid he came to our hometown, and he was rocking a starter Green Bay Packer jersey. Starter. You know what I mean? Yeah. Listen, that's the other thing too. Like that Emmitt Smith starter jacket back in 91, 92, that was, man, you were something if you had that jacket. Well, the Green Bay guy had the starter Green Bay jacket. And so I was thinking to myself, I go, James, like, how did you become a Packers fan?
Yeah, it's funny because I mean the story really starts when I started watching football. When I became aware that there was something as the NFL, and I was watching the 1996 Green Bay Packers versus the New England Patriots. Mm-hmm. They won the Super Bowl, and I was like, I like that team. They're winners.
What year was that?
96.
Okay, so that's the year I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So 96.
I was 7 years old.
I was 12. So yeah, I was in middle school. Yeah. Okay.
And I was like, I like that team, and ever since then, yeah, I was rocking with the Packers.
So you got hooked just because they were winners?
Yeah.
What happened before that? Like with the 49ers? Like I have a cousin, my cousin, shout out Jeremy. He was a staunch 49er fan just because it went against the grain with the Cowboys. And so whenever you found football, like it was just happenstance that you turned on the TV, you were aware of what the game was, and they won. So you just hopped on the bandwagon?
I liked everything. Like I like the G. I like the colors. Like something just draws me towards the Green Bay Packers. Like I like that they're the NFL's only publicly owned team. Is that correct?
Yes, they're cooperative.
I like that. Lambeau. I gotta make a trip to Lambeau to the what do they call it? A Mecca.
Dude, do you know like how cold?
Yeah.
Like do you know the Ice Bowl?
Yeah, with
the Cowboys. Yeah. Okay, and do you know now currently there's like the reason the Ice Bowl occurred was because the warming system that Vince Lombardi, shout out, the greatest, the GOAT, it froze. Their warming system froze, and so the field was a brick, and so they had to play on pretty much like an ice rink, and so even now they have like this comprehensive system to warm the field whenever it's -20 in Lambeau.
Yeah.
So like you're comfortable with, because that's the one thing I ask people is like if you're from the north, you're gonna probably be inclined to be Vikings, Packers, Chicago Bears. If you're a Midwest gal, you're probably gonna be in one of those arenas. But you're from Texas, born from Texas. Central Texas. Mm-hmm. You just caught the wave, huh?
Yeah. I always tell my girl, I'm like, if we go watch a game at Lambeau, I want it to be snow. I want to get the full experience. She's 115 pounds, so she's not gonna like that.
But you better get her one of them like nice coats with the mink on there. Yeah. And if you're an animal lover, Peter, I'll holler at y'all later. You know, it's faux mink, right? Faux mink. But yeah, man, like, see, I'm built. If you look at me, I'm built for Lambeau. James, 120, what are you, 150?
Right now I'm 145. Yeah.
Okay, well, James 140 out the shower, and your boy 340 on a diet. And so I'm built for Lambeau weather. I'm like, brother, how you gonna do it?
Yeah.
Well, here's something. I have my good friend Daniel. Shout out Daniel Godzillo. He is, I believe he's engaged to a young lady. Not young. They're in their 20s. and they live in Iowa right now. Well, she grew up a diehard Packer fan. So before the COVID-19, the coronavirus, before that happened, they were gonna like, hey, come up and go to games. So if I get tickets, I'm gonna see if I can finagle one and see if we can get you up there. I don't know if it's gonna be freezing because maybe the freezing games would be better to go to. But if I know those Lambeau people, the way I know them, if it's late in the year and if Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback, they're probably playing for a home field advantage or a playoff berth. So we'll see. But yeah, man, that was one thing that I really wanted to kind of figure out and kind of understand. And I was going to ask you while we were, on a break, but I was like, no, let's give it to the people. Let them kind of figure it out and let's see how they feel about it. And hey, if you're a Packers fan, hit the bell, like and subscribe, and share with your friends for James for his benefit, so we can keep on doing this. I mean, that's how the people are going to find us. You got to hit the bell. Just saying. All right, moving forward. Prop bets, James. Do you bet? Do you do squares? Anything? I'm not. This isn't an admission of guilt. I'm just.
No, not really.
You dabbled at all?
I have occasionally. Yeah. I mean, might go to pump some gas, get a $5-10 lottery ticket.
Okay. So you do it the legal way.
Probably get a Super Bowl square.
Okay. Yeah. All right. A lot of people do the squares. I know it's being like advertised right now on one website. I think Rocket Mortgage are talking about doing Super Bowl squares. My biggest question was like, how much did they have to pay the NFL to use the two words Super and Bowl with their advertisement? It must have been a lot of money. So with that being said, the prop bets going forward, and if you don't know what a prop bet is, it is a bet within the game. It's usually having to do with the player or one side of the ball and them achieving or completing an achievement. So Mahomes having to throw for a certain amount of yards, or Tom Brady to throw for a certain amount of yards, and you can pick the over and the under. So it's kind of complicated, but for those who are in the know, we can move forward. What I'm looking at right now is anytime scores. And the past 3 weeks, I didn't make the bet, but I told everybody, if you do bet, you should bet on, and this is for the NFC Championship game, I said, you need to bet on Robert Tonyan, anytime scorer in the Packers-Bucks game. Then I said, you need to bet on Fournette, anytime scorer. And my sleeper, the one that paid out a good money to those MVS. How do you say his name? Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Yeah. MVS for short. Anytime score. When he caught that 50-yard bomb, I was like, son, you got paid. You got paid. And so it was really cool to tell everybody, like, hey, if y'all made those bets, congratulations. You're collecting a good amount of money. Because I think that MVS one was I think it was like plus 140 or 160. So you made a good chunk of change.
Did you cash in?
I cannot confirm or deny that question at this time due to the fact that we live in the state of Texas. But moving forward, the biggest thing I'm looking forward into this game coming up is anytime score. I like Travis Kelce. I know that's an easy pick. Yeah, I get it, Travis Kelce. But the other one, I think that we really want to see anytime scorer for Ronald Jones. I think that if he can heal up, I think they're going to use him in goal line. And when I say goal line, probably within the 10, and they're going to throw because Fournette, man, in that NFC Championship game, he could not catch to save his life out of the backfield. So I think any kind of play out of the backfield, throwing to a running back, that may be something for 29 to get into the end zone for the Bucks. And I'm probably going to do a little bit more research to kind of see if we can lock up another prop bet. But I'm still high. I'm still high on that over 56.5. Just because I'm looking at the numbers, both teams are scoring averaging 30 points a game. The Buccaneers, I think they're averaging giving up 29 a game, and the Chiefs are averaging 20 points a game. So you kind of like think about that 56.5, 31-28. Maybe that's kind of where we get close to, but I want to do a little bit more fact finding. And also we really want to make sure that the health of the players, like we don't want it to be Thursday and breaking news, Tyreek Hill test positive for COVID. God forbid. I don't want that to happen. I don't want that to happen. I'm just using it as an example.
You heard it here first.
God, man, if that does come to fruition, I'm going to turn off everybody's going to like flood the comments. It was him. It was this guy. It's going to be like, do you remember that show, Game of Thrones? And remember when, what's her name?
I didn't watch Game of Thrones.
Oh,
I
you
watched
didn't watch
the first 2 episodes, but I do remember.
So the queen, she's the Lannister. I can't. Man, everybody's like saying her name right now, and I don't know it. We needed somebody into our ear telling us the name. Anyways, she's walking down the street, and everybody is like has these bells, and they're just saying shame, shame, shame. That's gonna be me if that comes out to play here moving forward. But I don't care. I'll take it. Hey, any bad PR is good PR. That's all I have to say. James, what are we gonna be doing moving forward?
Moving forward?
Yeah.
We're gonna be doing it.
Doing it. I don't know what you're doing. I'm doing a show.
Hey, like Big Sean, we do it. We do it.
I was thinking about doing it and doing. I was thinking, is that LL Cool J? That's what I was thinking in my brain. Whenever I don't know what I'm thinking. What's planned for the week?
This week, as far as I'm concerned,
yeah.
Just living life.
Tell them about what you got going on tomorrow.
Yeah, we got. We're gonna. I'm a co-host Dark Side of the Mic podcast. Check us out, Facebook, YouTube. We're gonna be recording a show tomorrow. This Saturday is gonna be our Super Bowl preview. We got Pops and Shots podcast coming on the show. It's gonna be a live show. We got all sorts of craziness going on, alcohol, hot stuff.
What's this hot stuff? What are you talking about? Hot stuff?
I have the bomb beyond insanity in the mail right now on its way to my house. That is in my opinion, it's the hottest hot sauce on Hot Ones.
Oh, so it's a sauce.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a sauce on the Hot Ones show.
Hot Ones.
Yeah. And it's the second to the last, but it's the one that I recognize that people they're like, okay, this is nuts. Why the fuck am I doing this? It's like it looks like a maroon color, like a dark maroon. Yeah. So we're going to be doing that on Saturday. Check us out, Dark Side of the Mic podcast. Yep.
Lots going on, people. It's a digital world. Y'all better hop in. Get left behind. Ladies and gentlemen, first show. I think we did okay. I had fun. James, thank you for coming in. Maybe he'll be a regular. We'll see. I don't know if he wants to be. I'm looking forward to this journey, y'all. Again, shout out to Recon Athlete. Shout out to Chris and the kids. Snoop, what up? Producer James holding it down on the keys and on the board. Thank you very much for that. And everybody who was out there tonight. My boy Ahmed, shout out, bro. My boy the Sarge. Catch the Sarge. I think he was doing a show tonight at Lion Pride Sports Broadcasting. Go give him a like and a follow. Tell him Paul Rodriguez sent you. And hey, tell your friends. What was that? Hide your mom, hide your kids. But do the opposite of that. Tell your mom, tell your kids, tell your daddy, tell everybody. We'll be at you next week. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for joining us tonight. We'll see you tomorrow.